What's up, everybody? Welcome to more Heroes of the Storm. Welcome to more Enter the Storm. Today we're going into another game of the round of 8 in the winners bracket. We have NaVi facing Alternate Fancy. And we've been talking about Alternate Fancy quite a lot. The team has changed a bit. Nurok and Gedamherd, two players that have formerly been playing for Kinguin, are now with Alternate. And they are actually doing extremely well over there. In scrims they had great results. But of course Alternate goes up against a very strong team today. NaVi is definitely not a pushover. These guys have been continuously within the top 3 in Europe for a long time. And our first game in the best of 3 today happens to be on Sky Temple. And we have NaVi already with a bit of a surprise here. They bring Sonya back into the play, and well, Sonya in this case actually being played together with an Abathur. So not only are we going to see Sonya jumping in, but at the same time we're also having Abathur to help out, and this is going to be quite interesting how NaVi is going to be able to put the pressure onto Alternate Fancy. Alternate Fancy, on the other hand, they're playing this with a Falstad and with a Khaldor, so very strong heroes here. First of all, we have a tank killer with Falstad and a potential seasoned marksman build, and then Khaldor with a living bomb build is of course always a big danger to the opponent's team. As the front line, Arthas and Muradin are two very tanky tanks that Alternate is using here. So pretty cool setups for both of the teams, and well, Sky Temple is going to show us which team is going to take the lead here, so let's jump right into it. The first game here at the round of 8 of the End of the Storm finals between NaVi and Alternate Fancy. Looking to the left side of the map here on Sky Temple, our first map in the best of 3 series, we have Falstad, played by Darkmok, Nurok on Arthas, Crosby on Khaldor, Gedamherd on Uther, and Blumby on Muradin. A nice seed chain that they have with Howling Blast, Gravity Lapse, stun on Uther, stun on Muradin, and to the right side of the map it is NaVi, with Alex the Pro G on Johanna, Eternal on Vala, Splendor on Rhaegar, Shwimpy on Abathur, and Sonya, played by JPL. So in this case, it's actually like a really interesting setup that we're having there. I mean, especially Sonya. If you look at the setup right now for the two teams, we're having in this case a lot of stuns on the side of Alternate Fancy, and Alternate Fancy had a bit of a lineup change. Nurok is now playing for them and Gedamherd as well, two players that before played for Kinguin, who had a pretty rough time, and the team is basically disbanded. So at this point, it's actually looking like we're having a very aggressive setup here for Team Alternate Fancy, and NaVi might have a bit of trouble there. They have with Shwimpy the opportunity to use the monstrosity on Abathur. They can go into a double Sonya or a double Vala if you really want to go for copy, but when it comes to real stuns, they don't have a lot. Blessed Shield on Alex the Pro G is the option on level 10, as is of course Reign of Vengeance for Vala, but besides that, when it comes to stuns, there's not really too much that they can deal with. They could use Leap on Sonya, but most of the Sonya players these days go into Wrath of the Berserker. And of course, that spear is also going to do quite a bit of damage. Sonya is getting a little bit more popular these days. Falstad already going straight into Seasoned Marksman, and I mean that's really something that they will need here. They're running up against not only a Johanna but also a Sonya, and Falstad of course has also the very cool ability to just fly through the map, and if Shwimpy for example takes position up here in one of those bushes later on, if the bottom temple is active, then Falstad can fly in there and try to take him out. So that's one of the things where Falstad comes into play as well. When we're talking about talent, we have Shot of Fury taken for Sonya on level 1. Sonya here again with that Eminem face over there. So we see Knight takes pawn, we have Siphoning Arrow, so it's the arrow build that Vala goes for. Multishot has become very popular again, since a lot of the teams are trying to emulate the Korean meta where multishot is still a big thing. But if you're playing on this map, then of course the arrow build can be quite strong, as also on Dragonshire. Every time you have the objective on one point on the map, it's really strong to just use something like the Siphoning Arrow together with the Puncturing Arrow there to have a bit of sustain. And another thing that really makes this worth playing is if your opponent is running a melee assassin, which in this case is actually not happening. Pressure 8 glanced on level 1. There's of course the opportunity to go for more of a pusher build on Abathur if you don't want to do that, but with the Sonya in there, Sonya Abathur can be really annoying. I mean, we're talking about Abathur in general, and if you're looking at a Johanna, then of course Johanna with an Abathur symbiote head can be super she can destroy everything. But if you have a Sonya in there, it is a little bit more brutal even. Mana Addict taken on level 1 here. We're having between Season Marksman, the Conjurer's Pursuit, and we're having Reverberation taken for the heroes to the left side. One of the things that we could see for Arthas now is Regeneration Master or Block. Those are the two most common talents. It really highly depends on how exactly you want to play the hero. If you feel that you can get those regeneration stacks up, then it's always nice to have that. But a lot of players are saying, hey, Block is a bit better for me here. But I would expect him to go into Regeneration Master here in this case right now. The lockdown for them is pretty solid, as already mentioned before. When it comes to the laning, then at the bot lane we could in this case for them, for example, see Khaldor being positioned here. It's a little bit more likely, I would say, that we are seeing either Khaldor or Arthas down here than anybody else. Already here the positioning with JPL trying to just like solo the lane for now, and Shrimpy is probably going to take over when the first two shrines are going to be activated, or the first two temples, which is going to be the top temple and also then the temple in the mid lane here. But for now, with the early game, it really looks like we are going to see especially Team Alternate Fancy doing quite a bit of work. And these guys have been doing extremely well when it came to their late game, their scrims lately. They are extremely strong. That setup that they have now with Nuruk and Get Amherd in the team is extremely strong, and it might actually be something where NaVi has their work cut out for them. NaVi, of course, is one of the best teams that we have in Europe, no doubt about that. They've been constantly getting results within the top 3 throughout the entire tournament stages here, and they've also qualified for these finals by their results in the last round. Personally, I'm a huge fan, by the way, of the doubloon, but I can't help myself. I feel that Johanna on the doubloon just looks wrong. I don't know why. That's the first time that I actually see it, and I really think it just feels wrong. I'm not quite sure why, but it's a bit weird. So we have Falset actually flying down to the bot lane. Apparently they want to keep Darkmonk here so that he can fly in up to the top. Arthas would have been pretty nice against Sonya in this case, but with Darkmonk they have now a hero down here that can at least fly up if they need him. Oftentimes you see teams rotating a little bit later before the temples start here, but for JPL he's already with Abathar in position where they're gonna put Darkmonk in his place, pushing back as much as they can. And NaVi has to be careful in the early game because of that CC that I've been talking about. So Blumby, Get Amherd, and Crosby, they all have some kind of CC that they can use. Nuruk in the mid lane can come in and use a Howling Blast as well. And of course, for now we're seeing everywhere, just like Abathar, with those Toxic Nests, making sure that he has not only vision on those bushes, but also can slow them down then later on. Up to the top, Crosby, Get Amherd, and Blumby, they are really going to try and execute the pressure, and Shrimpy already tunneled up to the top because he realized that that would be happening. That means that he's now missing at the bot lane, where he could theoretically try and claim one of these bushes to get experience. That's one of the reasons why he has, by the way, also a Toxic Nest here, so that he can still do that. We have a rotation from Sonya up to the top, where now both of the teams are trying to claim one of the temples. And this one is already taken, so we have Eternal and JPL here. To the top lane, it's Get Amherd, and it looks like NaVi is really going to try and fight for these. Crosby is super low, Gravity Lapse helps him out in the last second. There could have been a potential kill here. And Abathar is now down at the bot lane, and we're seeing Darkmonk still pressuring the lane. He did not fly up, he's not helping out anybody yet, and Shrimpy is just soaking the experience at the towers here. Here comes the fly-in from Darkmonk, putting pressure onto JPL. Alex the Pro G is here too, already on level 4, Flow Rider taken. Taking a book out of the page out of the Book of Blade, so to say. The Meteor Makers player who really played as one of the first players in Europe, the Seasoned Marksman build on Falstad, and they used also Flow Rider then on level 4 to be a little bit more mobile and versatile on the map. At this point we're having Get Amherd in a position where he's claiming the top lane still, down to the mid-temple. The last few shots going straight to Alternate Fancy, and the teams are actually on nearly the same amount of experience right now. So we're seeing them with level 5 versus level 5. Solid position for both of them, and still through the bot lane, the attempt of Abathar to get an experience lead for his team. With the level 4 talents, we see the prolific dispersal. So that's one of the things that we not really see a whole lot, especially when you're talking about a team that runs melee assassins, that runs very tank, like heroes that do a lot of damage with their auto attacks, and usually don't see that too much, just because you have the level 4 talent for Abathar, where you get the increased attack speed, and that's one of the things that they don't use here. So no Adrenal Overload in level 4, but instead just the cooldown reduction for the Toxic Nest. So we should also see on level 7 another Toxic Nest talent, since it's a really strong one, but that would mean that they give up Mule. So I'm really curious to see the level 7 talent on Abathar right now. Are they willing to give up Mule on a map where Mule is an extraordinary talent Or are they just simply saying, alright, screw Mule, they're really going for the Toxicness. Eternal, well, he was very confident with his kill here thanks to Abathur, but it looks like he might go down. Crosby has to turn around though since Alex moves in, and now Eternal is back to business. Abathur, oh, nice gravity lapse. I'm liking this one. Well played by Crosby. He dies regardless though, but that still had a very nice touch. Rotations from everywhere up to the top lane to at least trade 1-for-1. JPL is super low, and he dies to the Frozen Tempest, but it looks like Get Amero Nurok might also fall. Johanna went deep for those kills, but she could not get them. Level 7 for the two of them, and we have Abathur not going into the Toxicness talent. Instead, it is Khaldor Mule. They don't want to let that pass. It's just too good there. And I agree with that decision. It just makes that decision on level 4 a little bit weird. I would have really expected them to go for the increased attack speed so that they get a bit more damage out of a hero like Sonya or even Vala, but in this case they didn't do that. Vala, by the way, went straight for the full arrow build, so she didn't even bother with any of the auto attack talents that she could have taken, and I don't really mind too much here. We could potentially see on level 13 Vala heading straight into a talent like Giant Killer, but if you are talking Kel'Thas on the opponent's team, which is the case here, then of course Spell Shield is always a very strong option. The temple down at the bot lane is active, and we are having both of the teams on level 8, Condemn into Conviction on level 7 now for Johanna, and we are having for both of the teams Cleanse taken. Cleanse, extremely important here, of course, with all that lockdown that we have, potentially. Abathur at the top lane is soaking additional experience. Shrimpy is great when it comes to playing Abathur. He's doing really well here. We have follow through and focus attack as the talents, and JPL already getting some help. But here's the move with Falstad that I pointed out earlier. He's soaking the experience here, so they're not losing out on too much. The bot lane temple is still in the hands of Alternate Fancy, and they're about to get the last few shots in. So far, so good for them, but Abathur helping out with Johanna still in the mix. So a lot of damage dealt out down here, and there's a lot of toxicness in the bushes as well, but nearly the kill against Alex, nearly, but not quite. Gerd is also low and has to move away here. Both of the teams are trying to go for their rogue abilities. Navi are the ones, though, that are able to go straight for the temple and soak those last few shots. At the top lane, Abathur is in a bit of, I don't want to say he's in trouble, but he at least was forced back, and Darkmork is starting to take down the structures here, claiming that second tower is important, and Abathur not even getting the chance to heal that damage out. He will probably drop the mule down to the bot lane, and that is one of those things where they have to try and take the structures out now. Alternate Fancy, that is, because they know about that mule too. Darkmork with a gust. Oh, the mighty gust here taken by Falstad and just pushing Vala away in the last second to keep himself alive. So we have both of the teams now with the heroic abilities, and I'm curious to see what Abathur takes right now. Is it going to be the copy, or we will see Monty the Monstrosity? I think since the patch reduced the cooldown on the Ultimate Evolution, I have not seen the Monstrosity taken, and this game is no exception. We have Ultimate Evolution now taken. There is the Wrath of the Berserker for Sonya, Vala with Strafe, Blessed Shield for Johanna, and Ancestral Healing for Rhaegar. Whereas for Alternate Fancy, we are seeing Phoenix taken over the potential Pyroblast. Pyroblast has become a bit more common now that the range was increased. So after the patch, big fight here for the Siege Giant camp. Both of the teams on level 11 moving in with everything that they have, and the Gust of Healing pushing them away. The camp ends up in the hands of Alternate Fancy. Good Ancestral Healing for Sonya, keeping her alive. Shrimpy with a copy on Johanna went deep. Double condemned by them, but no kills just yet. At least not in this fight. Overall in the game, the kill count 1 versus 1, so pretty solid still. And guess what? Up at the top lane, Shrimpy is still trying to soak experience here. He's soaking that up, and we have him in a situation where he can now not rely on those two towers anymore, and that's of course a big problem. So he's helping out JPL as much as he can, and that allows now, for at least for now, Alternate Fancy to push the bot lane. And they are pushing in pretty hard, taking down the mule already. And they could even use Phoenix now. Phoenix is back up, and they should actually try and zone them out. But they don't even have to commit to it yet. So Kel'Thas is waiting with the Phoenix here, even though the cooldown is only 40 seconds. He just waits even longer. He wants to use that, maybe even at the wall for the key, but now the temples are up again. They're trying to go for that instead. Level 12 versus 12, and so far I think it's pretty transparent how strong Alternate Fancy is right now. They're playing a very coordinated game here. They have taken down a few of the structures. Now he's doing the same thing up at the top lane, but it's still a very, very close match here. Level 12 versus level 12, a kill versus a kill, and now the teams are both lurking around the boss. There's of course the Toxic Nest to consider as well, and we're seeing the bot lane shots taken by Darkmonk now, as the rest of the team is starting to commit to a bit of an attack in the mid lane, but Splendor and Eternal are moving away. So Bloomby, Norok and Gerdam Herd, they're starting to rotate. Falset can always fly in. And it looks like they are thinking about moving to the top and claiming a few of the shots. Not quite sure if they are going to arrive in time though. Gerdam Herd is moving in regardless, and yeah, they can steal a few. Level 13 talents now for both of the teams, and that puts, of course, besides the secret weapon on 7, now also Giant Killer into the hands of Falstad, which will definitely make Johanna move back very fast. And here's the damage already. We have also Phoenix taken. Hold your ground for Johanna. Alex the Pro G up at the front line again where he belongs. JPL gets healed with an ancestral healing, but Sonya has to move away, and Alex is eating so much damage here. In the backline, on the other hand, the Divine Shield just barely saving False, and he gets healed again, but there's a double Vala, and Shrimpy with a copy takes him out. Eternal dropping, though it's a 1-for-1, but Muradin and Uther are super low, and Arthas is about to die. In comes Sonya, taking him out with a quick slam. Job well done here, even relying now on the spell shield for level 13, so that Kel'Thas cannot do so much damage. Kel'Thas with those chain bombs in the fight really contributing a lot of damage, but it was just not enough to take the opponents down. The level 13 talent now helping Vala out quite a bit with that Giant Killer build that I've been talking about earlier. It helps against Muradin, helps against Arthas, but you keep yourself vulnerable against a hero like Kel'Thas. So one of the things that we are going to see here as well is just Shrimpy during all of these fights moving on the opposite side of the map and trying to soak more experience, that his team is slowly and steadily increasing the lead that they have. And he did very well with that in the last fight here now. But still, the game is very open. And Darkmonk is currently at 21 stacks for his seasoned marksman. That's pretty solid. I mean, 10 minutes in, it's not too bad. 20 stacks is pretty good. We have seen, of course, a few here players with much more than that, even up to 30 at this point in time. But with 20 extra damage, you are already preparing for a very strong late game, and then one of the things that you can rely upon later on 20 is, of course, also Nexus Fancy, and that's where really most of the damage is going to come from then. So, for now, we have also Mighty Gust used again. The cooldown is just so incredibly low on this talent. It's 40 seconds, so you can use that over and over and over again, and that's exactly what Darkmonk is doing here. It can be great when your opponent is trying to go for a boss, and you can maybe even steal that away. Flying being used to just like move up to the top lane and defend this one. The level 16 talent is now ready any second, and actually with Falset flying to the top and them knowing that he won't be able to come down here in time, they just go for boss. Bloomby and Nurik, they know it, but I think they have to let this one go. They have to move back, they cannot commit to it, and now it's the boss and the level 16 that they have, and it looks like Norok might even die too. Gets a Divine Shield here. Sonya can be so scary. Moved in here, and Eternal also zoning them out right now. The level 16 talents are ready, and we have, after Soma Transference, now the Envenomed Spines. So yeah, the only thing that I really find a bit weird is that he still went for the level 4 talent. I feel like the entire build that we're seeing on the side of Abathur really just catered to a Dreadle Overlord on level 4, but they didn't go for it. So maybe they really felt that with the extra amount of mines that they get better vision on the map and get better map control. That's the only reason that I can come up with, unless of course it was simply a misclick for him. For now we have Imposing Presence taken on level 7, now, sorry, level 16 of course, for Johanna. That's the counter Falstad build. Infernal is oh, yeah, goodbye. So, yeah. He was able to push 2 away, but now Falstad dead, and 16 versus 16 would have been the time for them to fight, but not with a 4 versus 5 situation. Oh, and Alex moves in with Condemn and tries to lock Norok down, and so far it looks like he's going to get this wish granted. Norok is about to get dropped, and that is 5 kills against 2. Alternate Fancy, they had a good start, but the last 2 battles that happened, they really went against them. Shrimpy at the top lane, soaking even more experience for his team, and just to give you a bit of an idea of how much he already worked for this, 12,000 experience taken by him. Falstad with roughly the same amount, even a bit more than that, thanks to the fly, and he could just always move in when the wave was about to hit the towers, and really help with that. But for now, at least, we're seeing Alternate Fancy 2 levels behind and fighting for the Shrine in the mid lane, trying to turn this battle around. But of course, Rhaegar is missing. Rhaegar's at the bot lane, and Falstad is back in there. Needed to barrel roll away, though. And also, now that the copy has been used by Shrimpy, he's just pushing the way with a Mighty Gust and buying them a bit of time to disengage here. They can move in again later on if they want to. Falstad is at only 9,000 damage. That's nothing. It's absolutely nothing for Falstad. He's going to try and get a bit more than that. Is Blumby gonna get another lockdown? Where's that Stormbolt? Oh, the cooldown should be ready any second, and there it is, and they get the kill, but the shots have already been fired, quite literally. That Temple doing so much work now to the mid lane, and we don't have a single fort remaining for Alternate Fancy. They are moving back in again and trying up at the top lane to lock down another hero. The stun against JPL might drop it, and yes, Sonya is dead, and Vala too, so that at least gives some map control back to Alternate Fancy and allows them to take a few of the structures down. They could even go through the wall now at the keep. There's only 2 heroes to fend them off, and actually we don't have an Avatar copy up just yet. They could even try and push this in even further. They have another 20 seconds until Vala is back to business, so I wouldn't really be surprised if they try to drop the keep here. And they're in a very good position for this now. So yep, Crosby is there. And there's of course the mule again. So with this, they're starting to go straight in, take this fort down, get the keep. Yeah, they should be able to get it, but the copy on Abathar is in play, and Crosby is low, so is Gerd, and they don't get it. The mule is gonna heal it up completely. There's too many heroes that are back to business. Nurok is already in position and starts to move straight through the minefield. Oh, he's very likely to drop. The stone skin is saving him a bit longer, but Gerd is too low on mana. Nurok is just running, but he is taken out, and they didn't even get the keep. Very unfortunate here for Alternate Fancy. They were trying to commit to it. At least the mule has now to be used for this one. The boss, by the way, is going to be back up in a minute, so for now that kill doesn't help Navi too much. 6 kills against 4 in total. Down to the bot lane, the keep is nearly eliminated. That boss earlier on was doing a solid amount of damage, but Gedamhead and his boys for now can at least rely on that level 18. There's no level 20 yet for Navi. The problem for them is of course that it's not going to take too long for Navi to get that next talent. Yeah, Alex the Pro G and Eternal are already threatening Blumby in the mid lane, and level 20 is now finally available to Navi. They have a very solid position in the game now. Rewind for Rhaegar, we're seeing Indestructible taken for yeah, good old Johanna. Bowl of the Storm on the side of Vala, with Sonya heading straight into the Hardened Shield. So now she's finally on this tanky side of the game. Usually when you're playing Sonya on the first few levels, you're relying heavily on damage talents, and then on level 13, 16 and 20, it's really the passive talents where you're trying to just gain survivability. No commitment yet by Abathar, who's very likely, I feel, to go into his Hive Mind. Hive Mind would be very strong with Sonya and Johanna committing to the front line. But now with the temples ending up in the hands of Navi, they are also super solid here with the damage that they can dish out. The mid lane already destroyed, the keep is gone up to the top. There's going to be a few more shots fired that will drop that keep very low as well. There's no mule on the side of Team Alternate Fancy, and that's of course a big setback for them. The boss is back on the map, and now they can try and go for boss again, but of course they would like to get a hero killed first. Lumbi jumps away in the last second. Down here on the other hand, Alex is moving in. They are starting to chase. Solid spot here by Team Navi. They get pushed away by the Mighty Gus, so at least the disengage from Falstad is working out for them. But that was a pretty cool trap. A really good one. They are going for the boss. They have still the double Vala, and of course right now, I mean, the thing is, Alternate Fancy know what's going on. They know what's happening. They know that they are down talent, and they still think about fighting here. There's so many heroic abilities that we're already committed to, and they're jumping in. 10 seconds on Mighty Gus, by the way. Strafe already used in the backline. Divine Shield on Falstad, trying to get the damage in. Alex is low, indestructible, proccing though, and Falstad, Mirrodin, and Uther are dead. There goes Arthur's, and they are going to completely wipe out Alternate Fancy. The game basically over at this point, but there was nothing that Alternate Fancy could do. Alternate Fancy was like thinking about this, and they were like thinking, hey, what are our options here? What can we do? Not go for boss, let them get the boss. Bot moves through the bot lane. The keep here is only, well, 10 hit points left basically, so then they can go with boss straight for core. They had to fight. They knew that they would most likely fail and lose their entire team here, but they had no other options left to them. Navi put them into a checkmate position. Extremely well played here by Navi, and they take the 1-0 lead in a pretty cool opening game in the best of 3 between Team Alternate Fancy and Navi here at the end of the Storm quarterfinal. Game number 1 ends in favor of Navi. Alternate was forced into a battle that they were never able to win, but they had no other choice. It was the only shot that they had to try and go for boss at the end of the game there. But Navi, they have the advantage, they got the extra talent, and they take the fight and then also the game. So Navi is in the lead with a 1-0, and now we have the map choice of Alternate Fancy, which is actually Tomb of the Spider Queen. They're running it here with the Khaldor again, and they also have Zagara for the pushing power. The interesting fact about this is that they have a very aggressive front line with not only Tyrael but also Nuburak, two heroes that can always go very deep and try to jump the opponent's back line. And on top of that, we are also seeing Karazim played by them. So the Monk again in play here, this time for Alternate Fancy, whereas Navi decided to go into a Kerrigan composition. So they're trying to run this with a Kerrigan and a Vala as well for the extra damage. So a pretty aggressive setup here from Navi too. The idea, of course, is to always put a lot of pressure onto the middle of the map, try to control the two turn-in spots and therefore the objectives. And we're going to find out if Navi can take it with a 2-0 Alternate Fancy. If they want to advance in the winner's bracket, they need to win 2 maps in a row right now. But Navi, they have other plans, and they already took the first map. So let's find out on Tomb of the Spider Queen if Alternate can bounce back, or if Navi takes it without a single map loss here. Tomb of the Spider Queen is game number 2, map number 2 actually, between Alternate Fancy and Team Navi. So at this point we're currently having to the left side of the map Dark Mok for Alternate Fancy on Zagara, with Crosby playing Khaldor, Nurgus playing Nuburak, Tyrael played by Blumby, and we have Get Amhead on Karazim the Monk. To the right side of the map we have a Kerrigan composition with Eternal on Kerrigan, Splendor on Rhaegar for Navi, Alex the Prodigy on Arthas, and JPL on Vala, with Shrimpy playing Johanna in this game. So a very aggressive composition, again very melee heavy what we're seeing from Navi here, and they're currently in the lead. They won the first map, and therefore, if they take it on Tomb of the Spider Queen, then, well, they move on to the semi-final of the winner bracket. It is still a double elimination system, though, so even if here, if Alternate falls, they will have another chance to go through with it. So for now, we're having the teams relying heavily, of course, again on talents that take... Wow! I'm a little bit surprised, actually. I was about to say, and I guess it's still true, that we have a lot of talents that require them to gather up either, let's say, minion kills or, on the other hand, the regeneration globes. But I'm a little bit surprised that we see Alex going into block on level 1. Now, why would you do that? Not quite sure, because I feel that on this map in particular, this is by far the best map if you're talking about like Regeneration Master, Conjurer's Pursuit, like all these talents that require you to pick globes up. This is the best map because you have like the lanes so close together that it's really easy for you to just like move from lane to lane and get a few extra globes in there. It's one of the reasons why Seasoned Marksman is so amazing on this map, and Alex just not go for it. So I'm a bit surprised by that. Yeah, that's odd. But alright, so he prefers to go into block for now. We have also a Manticore build, or potential Manticore build, on the side of Vala, who went on level 1 straight into Rancor. So auto attack Vala it is. That's a lot more single target damage, of course, and if you're talking about like lockdown with Howling Blast, with also the combo on Kerrigan, then you can really use some of that single target damage to drop these targets even faster. We're currently seeing Blumby in the mid lane, and Alternate Fancy is playing this pretty safe at the start now. They know that's an aggressive setup that we are seeing for Navi, so they know fully well that once Kerrigan gets a bit of momentum on this map, she can really start to snowball that, and they want to make sure that they can prevent it for as long as they possibly can. So they push the bot lane together with 3. They basically provide protection for Zagara, and that is extremely powerful here. I'm liking that decision a lot. Gerd can always dash away, so that's why they keep him up at the front line a little bit longer. But with them pushing the bot lane, that puts a lot of pressure on Team Navi, and that also forces Eternal currently to lane and not to roam to get kills in. So with the setup that Alternate is using now, Navi doesn't get as much out of the composition that they have as they potentially could. They get a lockdown again against Norok, but Gerd is there using his talents to heal him up again, and there's still the pressure play from Darkmok. So I like the laning that they have a lot here. I feel like with the laning that they set up, they negate a lot of the early game advantage that we're seeing for Navi, and that helps them a lot. But of course Zagara is still the primary target here, and they're trying to get it. Eternal is super low though, and again they're moving away. So the towers are getting really low down here, and Navi is currently the team that really has to face the music, and that that is Zagara pushing it in, Gerd healing everybody up, Nuruk supplying also a few of the beetles. He went straight in the Regeneration Master on level 1. We have a level 4 now for both of the teams, with the Ravage build coming through on Karrigan again, possibly on level 13 and 16 then the shield talents. Manticore taken after Rancor, so a lot of single target damage as advertised. And the lockdown at the bot lane again, but Splendor is also starting to get rather low here, and Darkmook still has enough mana so that he can go for the tower here up at the top. There's also a very good creep spread that helps Zagara to get the hit points back. First tower is down. Very solid play here. I like this. I like this a lot, what we're currently seeing from them. Lockdown against Nurok, but he has the cooldowns ready. Can just move away again. Gerd dashes in and helps them. And also, once more, the turn-in. Pretty cool play here. Very, very solid. If you think about how strong early on this composition is that we are seeing on the side of Navi, then, then Alternate Fancy is playing a fantastic game right now. We're having at the top lane still a bit of a rotation happening with Shrimpy and JPL. They're attempting to just like move these lanes back as much as they can, and they're doing a pretty decent job at that too. So yeah, nice lockdown against JPL here, by the way. Wow, I'm liking that. Gerd jumps in with a dash and nearly gets the kill. Oh my god, what? Oh, less than 10 hit points. Less than 10 hit points for Vala. Gerd dies. Unbelievable. Single-digit hit points, but Eternal gets killed and Splendor is extremely low now. Splendor heals himself. Nurok low now too. Alex on the other hand might die, and he does. Shrimpy with Condemn rushing in, but what a battle. Level 7 versus level 7 in a second. 2 kills for each of the teams. Searing attacks, of course, for JPL. And now when it comes to the level 7 talents, we're seeing the endless creep for Zagara. Darkmook is having a great time down at the bot lane, taking down all of the structures and moving straight for Fort. And also, well, we're seeing the Leeching Scarabs for Nura committing on level 7 to the Bug talent as well, for the Locust talent. The Red Web Weavers are the first ones to descend, but still, this game is fun. I like this. From a strategical point, it's great to see how the teams are playing this right now. The laning really made it for Team Alternate Fancy in the early game. They could be so far behind. If they would have gone for one of those traditional Zagara solo bot splits, they would have get wrecked, in my opinion, in the early game. I'm really liking the way they're playing this. But Navi is, of course, a strong team to go up against. They know how to play heroes, and they are showcasing it. They're rushing in with the Web Weavers right now. Very smart play from both of the teams. I'm liking it a lot. And now we're having the Web Weavers pushing the bot lane. In the mid lane, nobody is there to really protect against the big Web Weaver wave. Darkmook and his boys are pushing the first one down here back hard though. And up at the top lane, Crosby's very much alone. In the mid lane, Shrimpy with a rotation to get a few structures eliminated, and he's doing well. To the bot lane, great pressure here from Alex, Eternal and JPL. They're doing really well here. It's a very dangerous composition to go up against. If you overextend just once, Karrigan is going to jump in and get you into a stun lock, with Alex always being ready with another Howling Blast. The Web Weavers are defended against though, but a slight lead in experience now for Navi. They were able to secure that with a few of the towers that they took down. Really liking it here. Up at the top we have Shrimpy with another 29 gems that he currently has. Zagara still controlling the bot lane, but a lot of the creep tumors have been taken out by Navi, making sure that the vision is diminished. Shrimpy is attempting to turn in. That's 29 gems that he's currently rocking. We have 92, by the way, for the opponent's team. 92 gems for Alternate Fancy. And JPL pressured back. So both of the teams getting close to 10. Both of them. Blue Web Weavers are descending now, and that should help them to secure level 10. But for now, it looks like Navi might even get there before the Web Weavers are there. This is why both of the teams are currently rushing towards the waves to put them in as... to back them as soon as they can. Strafe, Ancestral Healing, Maelstrom, Army of the Dead and Blessed Shield have been used. Nuruk is now moving into the mid lane, and we have a hero on each lane now, getting the experience so that they can hit level 10 to push with those Web Weavers. And Alternate Fancy is doing this quite well. They're going to hit the level 10 any second now, and that should help them to push this in. But so far Navi did a great job at de-pushing the lanes a bit so that they have a slight buffer right now. Divine Palm, Locust Swarm taken, and more Phoenix plus Tyrael with Sanctification. So they're jumping into the mid lane to drop even more structures, and down go both of the towers. This should end up with a lead in experience for Team Alternate Fancy. They're playing a strong game here thus far, and I'm really liking the rotations. Once again, 5 heroes in the middle, from the back line. There's Shrimpy moving in. They know where he is thanks to the creep tumors, but still Gerd is affected. He can't dash away, and he will. Nurok, dodging the stuns on Kerrigan. Nice counter disengage here, using immediately the Maw to lock Kerrigan down. Darkmog is low. Alex is moving in. Kelthas is already dead, but Darkmog, at least for now, gets away. Zagara lives, but it looks like... Divine Palm perfectly played here, but it does not matter. It is Tyrael. He dies, and he loses his gems. Navi with a great move here again. Very well played by them. Great attack here. The angle, Shrimpy moves in from behind, and then they use the Maw as a disengage against Kerrigan. Eternal doesn't get the lockdown perfectly in the last fight. For now he does though, and Gerd is forced to dash away, but that kill against especially Tyrael was worth a lot because they were able to drop all of these gems. Very well played here by Navi. Alternate Fancy still in a position where they can, of course... I'm really hesitant to use the word comeback, since they only lost a few gems, but they find themselves in a very solid position when it comes to experience, and also the map control, as there's just creep everywhere. But Navi is, of course, currently dictating the pace of the game, at least to a certain extent. Gerd is jumping in, and he wants to go deep for this one. They're going straight for Kerrigan, but Splendor is there to help out. Rotation from the entire team to the bot lane now, as again we're seeing Alternate pressuring the bot lane. And this time there is no Mule to really just help out. On the last map they could rely on Abathur to just repair all of the damage that was dealt to the structures, but in this game that's not happening. So to the top lane, we have Blumby now rotating in to get the experience. They are very, very close in this case. So we have them at the mid lane now with Nurok again, just like trying to control the spots here. Down to the bot lane, we're having also Darkmog. One of the things that's also like very cool here when we're talking about the heroics, we have not only Divine Palm, which is of course crazy good against that lockdown attempt and all that single target damage, but another talent that is really coming into play with this is Sanctification. I'm not a big fan of the new Sanctification, but I really like the way that is being played here, just because you know exactly where they're trying to drop you. They're jumping in with Kerrigan, they're jumping in with Arthas, and if Tyrael gets the Sanctification through, he can really make sure that all of these spells that are being used kind of evaporate and are completely in vain. So with a good Sanctification, he can negate a lot of the danger, a lot of the pressure, a lot of the initiation process that we're seeing from Navi. So the plays are going to be pretty clutch to get that in time, but if Blumby is able to make that happen, then it's really going to be a big deal. 13 hits a bit faster now for Team Navi, and they are using that with a Biting Cold. So basically a damage build on Arthas, going into Destruction on level 4 and then also Biting Cold on level 13, using both of the talents. No shield talents for Kerrigan, instead it's Eviscerate, so it's the extra range on Ravage, which is an interesting choice here. Normally, when you're playing with the Kerrigan, most of the players that we've seen today, for example, have really gone straight into the shield talents on 13 and 16 to give her a bit more sustain during these fights. Keep the chain bombs in mind that Crosby has access to now. So that's not the... That's actually like... Look at the talents that we're seeing for Navi now. Not a single spell shield. Not one. Arthas could have gone for it. Vala could have gone for it. With the auto attack build, it's of course very tempting to go into the extra damage. And currently down here, well, once again, Blumby moving in, the Mob pretty good, but they are not using an Uberrock just yet. And here comes the Strafe in the back line. Uses Divine Palm, keeps himself alive, can dash away maybe again. Once again, Tyrael moving in, but Zagara is already dead. They're trying to go for a counter kill against Eternal, but the ancestral healing keeps him alive for now. Phoenix on the ground, Kerrigan dead finally. Bet you would like to have that shield Terran now, don't you? Alex gets stunned and killed, and JPL is rushing away, but Nurok is still body blocking Shrimpy and also has a chance to maybe stun somebody else out. Johanna, it's a 1-4-3 trade. Yeah, great play on the side of Alternate Fancy. I'm really liking it. And as I said before, no Divine Shield commitment, or sorry, no Spell Shield commitment on the side of Team Navi might have been a bit of a mistake there. They have a few heroes that could have really relied on it, but they didn't. We have max damage. They are trying to just burst Alternate down as soon as they can, and that might turn out to be a mistake by them. They have the damage potential there for sure, but if Sanctification, if Divine Palm and Karazim can keep the heroes alive for long enough, Karazim will eventually dish out the damage and can do so much work here. This is going to evolve in a very interesting battle between the two of them. We have, for now, at least with level of, well, 12 minutes in, level 14 for both of them. The Blue Web Weavers descending again. Kerrigan is up at the top, and Eternal is very much alone, and the entire setup for Alternate Fancy is starting to push in again. So let's see how that's going to work out for them. Nurok on the move, and they are starting to move in against the top fort. At the bot fort, we have Johanna still defending, so this one is going to fall for sure. Level 15 is already there. In the mid lane, the fort has fallen, so the the Web Weaver is very much alone. Nobody cares about this one. But up at the top, that's a very different story, because that Web Weaver is really putting the pressure on now, and this wall should fall. We have Kerrigan in the mid lane trying to go for the deep push. They're also trying to soak experience, of course, because Navi is starting to fall behind a bit. And over here, the wall already about to be gone. Yes, they're going to get this one. Level 16 talents in their hands now, and that puts the Arcane Barrier finally into the hands of Khaldor for the extra safety net. There's also the double Hunter Killer, and they're starting to move in for this. Once again, Navi's trying to commit here, but at the same time, they're down a talent. They have to be careful. Phoenix is already in play, and this is again... What? They're not going for the kill against the keep, really? With the extra talent that they have? Wow! They're waiting for the wave. Okay, they wait for the wave first, and then they start to commit again. Tyrael now going straight for the level 16 talent. Holy ground! And they are trying to get the keep, and so they should. They're moving in, they're dropping it, and then they can retreat. There is absolutely zero that Navi can do about it. The only chance that they had was an overcommitment on the side of Alternate Fancy, and that didn't happen. They take down the walls. I'm loving this move. It looks like a simple move, but it's really something that a lot of teams don't do, and especially if later on in the game you want to go for a boss, you need to make sure that the vision for your opponent does not betray that move right away. Eventually they're going to figure it out either way, but you're going to try and just like buy yourself as much time as you possibly can. Both of the teams now on level 16, and oh boy is Navi going to go for damage. Oh my god. I mean, Vala going for Executioner right now. There's finally also one of the defensive talents for Kerrigan, at least, with the aggressive defense. We're having Stone Skin taken, there's an imposing presence, but especially Vala is just going for mass damage in this game right now. With that Executioner talent, oh yeah. Auto attack damage with Searing Attack, Executioner, Giant Killer, oh boy, like she is doing so much single target damage right now. I can blow anybody to pieces within seconds. Yeah, well, for now, let's actually see how they're going to play this. We're having in the mid lane, now there's the damage talents already taken, and as you can see, there is 30,000 damage for Vala, and that is, well, besides the strafe damage. Besides strafe damage, that is nearly all single target damage. Of course, there's also the arrow to consider, there's also multi-shot, but this is a lot of single target damage that we're currently seeing for her. So right now, once again, the move down to the bot lane here. We have Shrimpy in position, Get Amhead here as well. They're all just starting to move in, and they're going straight for Shrimpy, and Johanna is about to get dropped, and goodbye. Goodbye, main tank. Alex is just rushing away. He's trying to escape, but good riddance. No way for him to make anything happen here in this case. And now it is again a 5 versus 3 situation. Both of the tanks taken out. The chain bomb damage on Khaldor is just absolutely insane in these encounters. And there is no spell shield to negate that. They had an opportunity to do it, and they didn't. Now the boss is up for grabs. The throw pit, they committed. They go for the throw pit, and down to the lane we have the blue Web Weavers descending now as well. This is that double combo that you can get sometimes, where you have the Web Weavers plus boss in your hands, and it's exactly what Alternate Fancy needs right now. They got their kill, 7 against 5, and now that's an opportunity for them to maybe even finish the game. Like, they can try, but it's 16 versus 16 talents, so a commitment here would be... that would be quite something. If they really commit to a push against core, that would be a ballsy play. Normally what you see is a rotation towards the mid lane, towards the bot lane, trying to just simply go for another keep. Navi is meeting this head on already. They don't want to fight at the core. They want to fight it immediately, while the boss is not going to be an option. But Vala down! Rhaegar heals himself with the Ancestry Healing. Splendor is trying to rush away once again, but Nuruk is already moving in, and they get a kill against Rhaegar. It's a double kill, and they are dropping the rest of the team now too. And this is the GG. Alex going down in a 5 versus 2 situation. It's never going to end in the favor of Navi. Down goes Kerrigan. Shrimpy is blown to pieces. The boss and the Web Weavers already on core, and Alternate Fancy, they take the game. They tie the series up. It's a 1-1. We're going to see a third map between Navi and Alternate Fancy. Well played here by the blue team. Great play by them, actually. Very well done, and I can't wait for this third map between the two teams. Alternate Fancy with a victory. They tie the series and force Navi into game number 3. And Navi decides to play Cursed Hollow. Cursed Hollow is their map choice, and they play again with Kerrigan. This time with a lot more support though. A Rhaegar for the heals, and then also an Abathur that can help out not only with the symbiote, but also could go into a potential copy on Kerrigan or Jaina. So it's a very well-rounded setup that we are seeing for Navi here. But when we're looking at the side of Alternate Fancy, they also play with the melee assassin. We have Illidan versus Kerrigan basically in this game now, and Illidan will be helped out by Uther, who has the Divine Shield ready, and again Kalthas being played by Alternate Fancy. So a pretty cool setup for both of the teams. It's really important for both of them to gain some momentum during these fights. A double Kerrigan or double Jaina is of course a huge threat to Alternate, but then again, if you have that Illidan going into the back line and trying to put the pressure on Kerrigan and for example also on Jaina, and then he's helped out with a Divine Shield of Uther, then of course Illidan himself can just do so much here. And they're also running this again with an aggressive front line. Muradin, the tankier tank, not quite the replacement for Tyrael, but we still have a Nubarak in their midst, and they of course have now the option to also go into Cocoon if they wanted to, depending a bit on how exactly they play it here. So guys, game number 3 coming up right now in the best of 3 series here at the end of the Storm winner bracket quarterfinal between Alternate Fancy and NaVi. The third game, the deciding map. It is Cursed Hollow, and we are looking once again, of course, against NaVi versus Alternate Fancy. And this is absolutely awesome. I love it, because we have melee assassins on both the sides right now, so it's going to be Kerrigan versus Illidan. To the left side, Alternate Fancy, well, actually in this case it's NaVi, with Splendor on Rhaegar, JPL on Jaina. We have Alex the Pro G on Johanna, Shrimpy on Abathar, and Kerrigan played again by Eternal. To the right side of the map, Illidan played by Darkmog for Alternate Fancy, Nurok on Anubarak, Gerd Amherd on Uther, Kalthas played by Crosby, and Muradin played by Blumby. And well, boys and girls, at this point it looks like we are going to have that Battle of the Melee Assassins. Both of the setups are actually very, very solid here. Maybe a little bit more sustainable what we are seeing on the side of Alternate Fancy, but when it comes down to damage and flexibility in general, then it is NaVi that is a little bit ahead here. With that copy on Abathar, you can actually copy like nearly every hero that they have on the lineup right now. The copy on a hero like Jaina is always going to give you a certain amount of burst damage. You can even go into a copy on Kerrigan if you just want to have control during one of the team fights and get the extra amounts of stun out there. And of course, the Divine Shielded Illidan is always a very, very threatening thought, since that can really just completely annihilate your backline. So we're going to see Jaina probably in a bit of trouble if that actually happens, and Kerrigan versus Illidan is going to be one of these big fights that we are going to see during this game. For now, we have the rotations again up at the bot lane. In the last game, we saw amazing setup at the start of the match for Alternate Fancy. That tri-lane that they set up on Tomb of the Spider Queen against the Kerrigan rotations, that was absolutely beautiful. That was really great, and it basically won them the early game, which was, it was beautiful. For now, they have a tri-lane as well, but we already have a bit of a rotation happening. Blumby is just like eating all of that damage thanks to the toxicness. He's just saying like, yeah, well, why not? My passive is going to kick in and then I'm going to just heal up all that damage anyways. So for now, we're seeing with the talents pretty much what we expected. Maybe like with the exception on the side of Jaina, who went into Conjurer's Pursuit on level 1. So on level 4 we are going to see the Snowstorm. And Snowstorm is a very solid talent to take on a map like this, where you have small corridors and the extra radius is going to give you a lot of value. Therefore, no Arcane Intellect, and that's why we're seeing Conjurer's Pursuit here to make up for that mana regeneration, so to say, that you neglect when you're not going into Arcane Intellect. On the other side, we're having for Kalthas, and well, for not only Kalthas, Uther, and Anubarak, all going into Globe Talents. Muradin, of course, against the setup, heading straight into Reverberation for his Thunderclap to reduce the auto-attack damage that we're seeing from all of these heroes. We're having for Kerrigan, again, that Ravage talent on level 1 with a 10% heal. And in this case, now with a faster level 4 on the side of Team NaVi, we are also having, again, Ballistospheres here. Actually, not quite the same talent that we saw on the first map, which was Sky Temple, but in this game, it's the Global Mines. Kerrigan, oh, Darkmog barely escaping, but he does. He gets away, and now it is instead Kerrigan that is in trouble. The rotation was just a bit too fast for NaVi to follow, and they lose Kerrigan here. The idea was, of course, to just try and move in as on level. Like, you know that 2 minutes into the game, the Siege Giants spawn, right? 3 minutes in, we're going to see the bosses appear on the map, but the Siege Giants are one of these things that are oftentimes attacked immediately when they're 3 minutes in, by the way. Boss is going to appear any second here. The Siege Giants are one of the things that is oftentimes attacked by Illidan if you have an Illidan composition once that they spawn. So 2 minutes in, Illidan is going to move to the camps. This is exactly why Kerrigan moved over, trying to make that work. But in this case, it turned around against her, since it was already expected by Alternate, and they got the kill against Kerrigan, and now find themselves in a slight experience lead here. The Tribute, on the other hand, was grabbed by NaVi. But we're seeing now at the bot lane that push with those Siege Giants, and that can do quite a bit of damage right now. So Siege Giants already locked in. Up at the top lane, we have a Nubarak. We have Illidan taking even more camps, but there is this time nothing that Navi can really do about it, because if they move away from the bot lane, then those Siege Giants will put too much pressure onto the towers and possibly break through the wall with the help of Gadam, Herd and Crosby on Uther Kelthas. So Illidan is very much alone, can do whatever he wants over here at the Bruiser camp, and he takes that quite easily. So Illidan as, again, a solo mercenary camp taker, very strong here, and now he's moving over to that tribute that we are seeing. The teams are going to hit level 7 any second now. The level 4 talent, in this case, is by the way the Psionic Pulse on Kerrigan, so not going into that extra talent for Ravage. We're having also, as expected, Snowstorm taken, and here's the level 7, a tiny bit faster for Alternate Fancy. Hitting in time for Navi, though, to really contest this if they want to. And against the melee assassin, we are having Frost Armor taken. Very popular talent when you're facing a Zaratolo and Illidan. And in this case, relying on this immediately. The extra slow with the Vile Nests for Abathar, that's going to be quite important. Bloomby actually taking the tribute in the backline. And they're starting to jump in again. JPL isolated. And they're going deep with Illidan. Get the kill against Jaina. And Splendor is also falling here. Great start into this. Alternate Fancy, they are doing really well here. We've been talking about them. They are super strong these days. They are doing so much work. They are able to just take down so many top teams during their scrims. Of course, they still have to show that in tournaments, but that's exactly what they're here for. And Navi, as one of the best teams that we have in Europe, is, yeah, they're struggling. I mean, this is the third map between the two teams. Alternate Fancy has already proven that they can take Navi on. And in this game, they are taking the lead. They're going for the structures here in the mid lane. We're having them with 3 kills against 0. They haven't won the game yet, but they're off to a good start. Navi has to be careful. Illidan, on the other hand, dying up at the top lane is, of course, a very nice kill and a cool move on the side of Navi. If they can take down 1 or 2 of these towers, that would be even better. But the teams are aiming for level 10 right now, or working towards it. Sledgehammer, by the way, taken on Bloomby on level 4 for his Muradin, and also the Piercing Bolt on 7. So a bit of extra damage against the mercenaries, against the structures. And another tribute on the map, which would be the second tribute for either one of these teams. Kerrigan is already rotating around over here, waiting for an opportunity. We're having now Alex in the same position. And they're even thinking about an attempted kill, but Nuruk is a bit too fast here, uses the burrow charge and moves away. Gadam Herd with the attempt to get the tribute. Alex, on the other hand, using his shield glare to make sure that that doesn't happen too fast. And there's always, yeah, Abathar. Abathar with the Needle Spines going straight in for another potential cancel. That's why Bloomby is currently zoning here, trying to eat that damage. But there is tribute number 2 now claimed, and at the top lane against the pressure play. But Navi with a slightly experience right now. So when it comes to lane soaking, they have been doing a bit of a better job. They also have Abathar in general, and Abathar at the bot lane is doing just really well when it comes to that split push experience. So they will hit level 10 a few seconds faster than their opponents. But Kerrigan didn't really get anything done in the early game just yet, so she didn't get an opportunity to get some kills. Gerd actually moving into this. I'm a little bit surprised by that, to be honest with you, because he must have seen Eternal here, but he moves away now and is... oh, he's not going to fall. He uses the Wave of Light in the last second and keeps himself alive just barely. Both of the teams now on level 10. To the left side, as you can see, there's Ancestral Healing. We have also now the Water Elemental committed. They're trying to go for Crosby. They get their kill, but it's also Jaina. Jaina and Kelthas, both of the mages, they fall here. Maelstrom taken. The Ultimate Evolution has the copy for Navi now in play, and the Blessed Shield. And we're looking to the right side. Phoenix is now used. We have also Cocoon on a Nubrak, so not going to the Locust Swarm, but instead it's Cocoon, Avatar, Divine Shield, and Metamorphosis. So this is where we have both of the teams going straight into their heroic abilities, and therefore of course going to try and just bring that to use in these team fights, trying to like jump in. Divine Shielded Illidan is going to be super important. Double Kerrigan, double Jaina, no matter what Abathar wants to copy here, all of it is valid depending on how you want to play it. And for now, we're having him, of course, with the attempt to use that, but for the time being, down to the bot lane, there's another tribute that could potentially be taken by Alternate Fancy. That would be tribute number 3, by the way. A bit of zoning going on up here at the top, and Eternal down against Kerrigan. The Kerrigan copy is there, but Shrimpy's going to lose his copy in a second now, too, and Metamorphosis and Stormbolt, Lockdown Splendor. He's healing himself with an Ancestral Healing, but there is absolutely no getting out of there. The body blocks take him out. They ignore Shrimpy for now. The Divine Shield had to be used by Gerd to keep him alive, but the Abathar copy is now eliminated as well, and they are going straight for the boss, and they should be able to burst it down. But we have no copy up for Abathur. Kerrigan is back to business, though. I'm not quite sure if she's going to be able to arrive in time to help out against this. I highly doubt it, to be honest with you. Especially since Jaina is just now making her way over up from the top lane. So yeah, this is going to be a boss claimed by Team Alternate Fancy. And with 6 kills to 2 and them about to take the tribute here, they find themselves in a great spot. Cocoon already used, and they use that tribute. Are they going to get it? It's going to get close. Yeah, nothing that... yeah, the stun as well. No shield glare possible here for Johanna. And Johanna, I mean, we're not even talking shield glare. Johanna just got completely annihilated. Wow, they're going deep for JPL. They want to get that kill. Stormbolt! They get it on Kerrigan, and another stun from Noro Gravity Labs. Oh my god, like the CC chain is insane. Alternate Fancy with amazing play here, putting even more pressure on JPL, and they dive hard. A little bit further, and they're already going for core here. The boss, of course, goes through the fort at the bot lane, and at the same time, they're just obliterating the entire setup here. They're going for keep. Wow, that curse is going to be active for another 30 seconds, and they find themselves with an extra talent over their opponent now in 2, and that allows them to use Chain Bomb, to use the Shrink Ray against Kerrigan, and they just drop the entire wall. That boss is going to go for the core 9 minutes and 40 seconds into the game, and this is very likely to be the first keep of the match. Unbelievable. Wow, Alternate Fancy, they just rotate to the mid lane, the boss takes down the keep and they go for the next fort. Crazy play by them, 8 kills against 2, they gain so much momentum here, it is crazy. They drain ammunition from the mid lane, they move to the top to maybe even get another fort, and it looks like they are going to get that. A 2-level lead, and of course it's even talents, but that was beautiful play by them. Going this deep for the kills after they hit curse, it was beautifully timed. They had everything lining up for them, and they made good use of it. Level 13 shield talent now for Kerrigan. Another boss already being attacked up at the top lane. Healing Surge, hold your ground, improved ice block. They have all the talents they need, but this boss, can they really... can they claim it? Yeah, they stun everybody out, zone them away, and here comes boss number 2, and once again Alternate jumps in. Oh, Ancestral Healing, keeping Kerrigan alive, but for how long? She gets the lockdown in. Yeah, it's the copy on Shrimpy, moving in again, but Kerrigan is already dead. The copy is about to go down too, but everybody's low on the side of Alternate Fancy, and another lockdown against Scared here. Down he goes, the double kill for them, and now Jaina is dead, but Nurog is so low, gets healed by Uther. Splendor is trying to move away, but not in time. Not even the wolf form saving him. I cannot believe that Illidan survived, by the way, and he is going even deeper now, trying to even drop Alex. I don't think they can make that happen, but another Storm Bolt might seal the deal. There it is, but the gate has already been passed. Level 16 versus level 14 now. That boss still up at the top lane, wreaking havoc. Illidan could use the blood for blood in the last fight, one of the few things that kept him alive here, and the same talent of course also saved the Nuburak. Benediction for Uther, very helpful here in the Cane Barrier, as well as Stone Form. Very strong level 16 talent when it comes to survivability, and that's exactly what they need. They have the damage, survivability is going to be key, especially when the double Kerrigan composition gets the stuns in, but for now, Alternate is riding the momentum wave, and they are doing a great job here. 11 kills against 4, they're moving down, and they see, of course, another tribute spawning. They can't even take that camp away, and I think that's what they're trying to do. They're going straight for the Bruiser camp, and they will just burst it down within seconds. And, well, to the top lane, there's an attempt to at least steal the Siege Shines, and NaVi gets that, but they are not even fighting for the tribute. I mean, what are they going to do with the tribute? It's only the second one, is the first one in this case for Team Alternate Fancy, and there's nothing that they can gain, but they can lose a lot, of course. NaVi is waiting for an opportunity. They're waiting for their chance to come back into this. They know that they already lost way too much. They lost every single fort, they lost the keep, and they did not take down one fort. Not even one. Here's the 16s though. And with the 16 talent, we have Tidal Waves, there's the Envenomed Spines, we have Soma Transference, and of course also that additional shield talent with the aggressive defense on the side of Kerrigan. So having the double shield here is going to be exactly what they need. And the imposing presence against Illidan, that's amazing. That's what they need, and that's what they are trying to use now for the next few fights. That boss is going to spawn again in another 30 seconds, so that's going to be also very important that both teams are going to double check when the opponent is going to try and aim for it. Over here on the other hand, Jaina is a bit too far out, uses the water elemental, they're trying to go for it, and Cocoon already used for the disengage. Nurok is going to be able to get away with the rest of his team, but yeah, Committing Cocoon after Water Elemental was already used is absolutely alright. So they just disengaged here. They know that they are in a decent spot. And now the Tribute spawns on their half of the map. So perfect positioning for them. I don't even think that Navi is going to go for this one. But they're trying to go for Illidan. Darkmok is moving away and jumps back in again. Metamorphosis already used. And Muradin is not even with them right now. But Phoenix already committed to the fight. And Eternal is already moving back again. And Ancestral Healing just a second too late. Unbelievable. Now Splendor dies. It's a double kill again. JPL on the run. But he's getting dropped. Darkmok gets killed too. But that's a kill that they are probably not going to... Oh, Schwimpy blasting him away. Blasting Uther out of the orbit with another Cone of Cold. Well played. It's still a 2 versus 3 trade, and they go through the wall now. And of course they can send Muradin up to the top to take that additional tribute. It's tribute number 2, but they got the wall as well. They're closing in on level 20. Both of the teams are on 16 right now, but this is a great situation here for Alternate. The boss at the bot lane, on the other hand, toxicness everywhere. They have no chance of moving against them. Alex is double checking, by the way. He's just like, better safe than sorry. They might have like pulled up an invisibility cloak somewhere and moved in, but nah, they didn't. So 14 kills against 6. Navi is not down yet, but they are struggling. And they're trying to take the boss here. Blumby is about to move in. 2 heroes still dead for Alternate. And that is the opportunity that Navi is trying to use. And they will get this boss. They should be able to get it. I don't think that Alternate is going to commit to this. They can't. There's no way. They're missing Illidan, they're missing Uther. No, it's not going to happen. So at least this is boss for Navi. And I mean... we've been talking about the structures, right? We've been talking a lot about which structures were taken out, but if you look at experience, it's level 18 versus 19. That's still alright. You can bounce back from disadvantage like this. The bigger problem is really that the bot lane has been claimed. The keep is down, and all of those forts as well. But that also means that there's a lot of experience in structures still on the map that they can easily take down. Dropping the wall and also a fort here is not going to be a big issue. Up at the top lane, we're already seeing Alternate Fancy with the setup. They are trying to lay a bit of a trap so that they can jump in. Navi, actually, that is. And they know that their opponents are going to try and move in here at some point. Eternal stunt! Oh, shrink rate! But here's the copy. And they go deep right now. Double Kerrigan once again. They're trying to lock down Crosby in the backline. Arcane Barrier already used. Schwimpy is moving away with the Abathar copy here. And he is taken out. Now in comes Metamorphosis. And it is time for Illidan to hunt them down. Divine Shield already applied. And here comes the Phoenix. They're going straight for another kill against Kerrigan. And down she goes. The Ancestral Healing hitting Splendor. But that's not going to do too much. Improved Ice Block. Use Crosby low. Crosby down. Uther about to die as well. Navi trying to come back. Navi going straight for Rhaegar. And Rhaegar is about to die. Oh, Splendor. They lost Jaina. They lose Splendor. Navi, they were so close, but it's Alternate Fancy that wins the fight again. It was looking good for a moment, but with Jaina down and Kerrigan gone, they couldn't really commit to anything here. They just lost too much. They lacked the damage. And then Splendor, he dies as well. Now it's a 3-for-2 trade, and this boss is going to end up in the hands of Alternate Fancy as well. They have their level 20 abilities with the double hardened shield, Redemption on Uther, Bolt of the Storm for Kel'Thas, and Metamorphosis, of course, as well. The bot lane is being pressured hard. The fort not even eliminated. That boss couldn't even go through this. In the same time, we have the top lane being pressured very hard, and that of course means that this boss is going to have an easy life. They already take it here. They actually waited a little bit with Darkmok, not really committing to it just yet. Tribute could spawn soon again, and now it's level 20 versus level 20. Mines everywhere. Darkmok probably a bit annoyed by this, but still, I think he's going to be fine. He just has to go back to the well, and then it's alright. The Tribute, on the other hand, is going to spawn, and that is like the worst timing ever. 10 seconds until they can take the Tribute. Well, it might actually be exactly the time that Navi needs to go for boss here, but they are trying to get an early kill. Hive Mind being used, double Bolt of the Storm. We are seeing, well, no commitment yet by Johanna. They're going for the fight. Rhaegar with Rewind has a lot of healing power here. Muradin is very low, but already stone form and started. Alex is moving in. The boss at the same time is going to go through the keep. So Navi need to win this fight. If they lose it here, it's all over. And Illidan jumps in with a Metamorphosis. Once again, Nuruk is trying to initiate and knock somebody up. Once we have Jaina. Oh, God, Kerrigan is down and Jaina is dead as well. guys, this is the beginning of the end. Splendor is running away. The dog is on the run. Alex is about to be dropped as well. Goodbye, Splendor. Well, actually, he gets away in this case. But yeah, he's trying to help out Alex, but this is already too late. Stun after stun. The keep is down. Yes, Uther dies, but who cares? This is Alternate Fancy advancing to the semi-final of the winner bracket. Great play here by them. Very well played. Very impressive performance. And NaVi finds themselves in the loser bracket. A 2-1 victory for Alternate Fancy at the end of the storm. NaVi defeated Alternate Fancy. They take 2 games in a row and now they advance in the winner bracket. They find themselves in the winner bracket semi-final. A great performance here by Alternate Fancy. Great play, especially on that last map. I have to say that I really like the way that they played this. On Tomb the Spider Queen already, the laning that they showed against the Kerrigan composition that NaVi played was exceptional. And here on this map, once again with great control during the team fights. Very well played here. Alternate Fancy, they advance, and NaVi, well, they dropped down into the losers bracket. Definitely something that they did not expect, but Alternate is just showing again how strong they are these days. And that was a pretty sick series there. I definitely enjoyed casting that. I hope that you guys enjoyed watching it and that you enjoyed the commentary as well. If you did, give the video a thumbs up on YouTube. And guys, if you have any questions about the compositions that were being played here, then just drop the comment into the comment section of the YouTube video. And of course, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, then you should do that as well. Thank you very much for tuning in today. It was a pleasure casting for you, and I'm going to see you guys next time with even more Heroes of the Storm action on the YouTube channel. So have a good one and see you soon, guys.